All right, this is it. This is where it all comes together. This is Amy Benefield from faithfulpreparedness.com, and we're going to do homemade bread with natural yeast. Now, if you've watched the tutorials, you know it took a little work to get it to this point, but now it's ready. It's all nice and bubbly and risen up double its size, and I've fed it a couple times already, so I hope it's very happy with me right now. Okay, so what we need for my homemade bread, and you can find whatever recipe you want to use. Some recipes apparently don't work as well with natural yeast, but most of them are pretty flexible. You can use natural yeast instead of commercial yeast. But what I'm going to do with mine, traditionally I actually like to use whole wheat flour, but I also like my family to eat what I make, and so sometimes I will compromise and do a 50-50. So today we're actually going to use 50%. I'm going to use actually 10 cups of white flour and 11 cups of my whole wheat, freshly ground flour. And then other things you can throw in there that help with flavor and just goodness. Truthfully, you can make a bread out of just flour, salt, water, and yeast. I mean, that's pretty simple and basic. If you had to do that, you could do that. But I like flavor, and since I can have flavor right now, that's how I do it. One thing that really just helps with your fluffiness and your texture of your bread, especially when you're using a whole wheat flour, is vital wheat gluten. I know there's a lot of gluten intolerances in this, nowadays, and so you may want to skip adding more gluten to your stuff. But one of the things that that natural yeast does for you is it actually helps with the gluten. It breaks it down. So gluten helps make things rise. The natural yeast helps break down the harmful stuff in the gluten. So just FYI. I'm going to use some sea salt, and we're going to actually use, so I've got 2/3 of a cup of gluten that I'm going to put in there, 6 teaspoons of sea salt, and 4 tablespoons of coconut oil. Coconut oil is phenomenal. It adds flavor, but it's also a dough enhancer, so it makes the dough better. So it's just fantastic to use. So we'll get to how we do that in just a minute. And then honey, I do about 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup, depends on how sweet you want it. Anyways, and then so that's delicious. And then you do not have to do powdered milk. I do powdered milk sometimes I don't. Today we're going to do it, and it's going to be 2/3 of a cup of powdered milk. Next, this is where it gets a little not tricky, but just interesting. Well, actually, sorry. Let me finish with ingredients. Sometimes, if I'm wanting to make a sweet bread, I will do all the things I just told you, and then I'll add about 3 teaspoons of cinnamon to my bread, and I call it cinnamon bread. The kids love it. One of their favorite things is cinnamon bread, and it's really, really phenomenal with butter, just butter on it, but it's even better if you take butter and then some honey with cinnamon in it already. So just really good stuff. So anyways, it also makes a really good peanut butter toast too if you want to do that. And then secret ingredient in my secret ingredient soup, I'm just kidding, is vanilla. Vanilla is amazing, and I just discovered this just recently. Adding just a little bit of vanilla, just a few drops, just changes the flavor. It just enhances the other flavors around it, especially if you're going to do a sweet bread like a cinnamon bread or even just with honey. It really makes it pop. And so and it doesn't take much, like maybe 1/2 teaspoon. I wouldn't put more than a teaspoon for sure. And this recipe is going to make 6 loaves of bread. So it's a good big amount of bread, which I only do bread once a week because for me it's like a day and a half. No, it's like a 2-day process. And don't let that scare you. It's actually not that hard. A lot of it is just waiting and stuff. So I usually will make bread on the days that I'm cleaning my house and I'm going to be home. And I do it once a week and throw the extras in the freezer until I'm ready to use it, and then I bring them out and we're good to go. So here's how we do it. We're going to actually pause, and I'll go into the how.